Welcome to another edition of Paradigm Insights. This is the opportunity for me to put questions to our lenders and key partners during this period where we're all having to adapt to a changing and challenging working environment. In this edition, I'm with Joe Heayes, Corporate Relationship Manager with Nationwide for Intermediaries. And Joe represents both the Nationwide and TMW brands. As the largest building society, Nationwide has been working hard to maintain customer service and products at all levels throughout the lockdown. And today, Joe will cover some of this in more detail. So, good afternoon, Joe.
Good afternoon.
Right, to start with, for those Paradigm members that don't know you that well, can you provide a little bit of background of your career so far with Nationwide?
Yeah, sure. It's great to be with you here, albeit virtually today, Just. Thanks for that and the opportunity to share some information and thoughts with your members. My career is long and I've been with the financial services many years. That goes back. In fact, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but it's been over 30 years. So that includes advising on mortgages, managing units that have processed them, run call centres, managed a training and development team, and that's just a few, and pre-Nationwide, I have to say as well. But I've actually been with Nationwide 12 years this month. So I initially joined when Nationwide for Intermediaries was first launched, and then I moved on to work behind the scenes as a change and propositions manager. So I did that for a few years, and that was a really diverse and interesting job, lots of challenges, and part of the role included troubleshooting problems, really getting under the skin of issues and pulling together experts from different parts of the business to pull it apart and get creative in how you could solve it. Then selling the idea back to the business and implementing it and seeing how successful it had been. So I also looked at internal processes and seeing how we could improve them, and then moved on to working with external partners as well. So that's what then brought me into the corporate role over 4 years ago now, and I've really enjoyed working with the various distributors and continuing to develop our proposition.
Yeah, so it's been quite a varied career in the 12 years with Nationwide.
Yeah.
And you say you've been sort of coming up for 30 years now. Obviously, you started very young indeed.
Yeah, I think I was, one.
Yes, indeed, yeah. Like many lenders, Nationwide and TMW were inundated with requests for payment holidays after the Chancellor's announcement. Are you able to explain in more detail what steps Nationwide for Intermediaries have taken and how you are managing this going forward?
Yeah, of course, and I think inundated is a really good description, actually. We've always offered options for borrowers who find themselves in financial difficulty and payment holidays, but of course, when you've got tens of thousands of people asking for them all at once, that provides a level of pressure on resource, of course, no one's ever experienced. So the priority was ensuring that we shared as much detail as we could on how you can access that support and making it as easy and seamless as possible. And that was across both the prime and buy-to-let space. So we focused on updating the website straight away, including the links, making sure that those applications are instantly accepted. So no need to battle phone lines or anything like that. And we've had a lot of good feedback actually in terms of how quickly we were able to react and publish information. But initially, of course, we had to divert lots of resource to get those requests actioned behind the scenes. But we were able to quickly deploy a technical drop. So that meant that we could get those actioned automatically. And that really helped and enabled us to bring back the resource to work on other things. But in terms of the longer picture, we're committed to continuing to support customers and members in these difficult times, and of course that may extend beyond the initial 3 months. So we're going to be sharing a bit more information and detail on what that looks like in the next few days. But what I'd say is any brokers who are approached by borrowers who are concerned about their financial position or their ability to fulfil their mortgage payments, I'd encourage them to ask the borrower to contact Nationwide so that we can look through a range of options that might be available to them.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea, and I think brokers themselves have, after again the initial rush and almost being caught like, rabbits in the headlights, have,
Mm.
really tried to be a bit more proactive with the borrowers on this and try and manage the process better for everyone.
Yeah.
So for Nationwide, you're using desktop and AVMs for value and up to 85%, which is, let's be honest, higher than some of your peers.
Yeah.
Do you see this continuing once lockdown has been eased? That is, do you see it to stay, the AVMs and desktop valuation up to the 85%?
I think it's a distinct possibility, to be honest. I mean, the term dynamic working has quickly become our new norm, really, and we're expecting that to be the case for some time yet, and potentially a permanent feature. I mean, we've always been supportive of using automation more and more to help, improve the speed of processing, and that's been developing over time. And one of the things that comes from any kind of crisis management, as you'll know, is creativity and innovation, having to adapt really quickly and potentially continually as a crisis grows or changes. We've got our own property risk team, which includes 10 staff valuers, and I think that's given us some additional advantages in being able to take, considered risk-based decisions on cases that might not ordinarily have been able to progress. But I think moving forward, we're continuing to look at how technology can be developed further, obviously at pace, to enable us to implement a longer term solution and do more of the heavy lifting and free up the valuers to do what they do best, using their expertise to spend more time undertaking the more in-depth valuations and buyer reports.
All right, thanks for that, Joe. So what has the flow of buy-to-let applications been like for TMW since lockdown? There's been talk of this time, i.e. sort of the lockdown period have been particularly hard on the landlord market. But what's been the experience like for TMW?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt the sector's seen a significant impact too. And with some of the specialist lenders retrenching from the market, we've naturally seen an uplift in our market share, and in some product areas we're probably the only lender active in that space. So business has continued to flow in, albeit overall at a reduced level to business as usual. But one of the key things we needed to get right was the resourcing, so making sure that we were able to continue to underwrite and process the applications that were coming in. And we're in a good place with that. So we've got staff working both from home as well as a reduced number who are remaining on site.
Right.
And of course, we and other lenders still very much have an appetite to lend. So we're continuing to find ways to expand the proposition so we can continue to support the market where we can. I think that's going to be vital going forward.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with that. And the message I'm getting from all lenders is they really want to be involved and really want to help people moving forward. It's just really going to be what sort of limitations are going to be placed around that.
Yeah, definitely.
And only time will tell on that front. So have you noticed any significant delays or issues with conveyancing since lockdown began, whether that's with Nationwide or with TMW?
Yeah, and not at present. I may rue those words, but at the moment it's been very much centred around the payment holiday and front end of the mortgage application process up to and including valuation. Now, I suspect as more of that pipeline works its way through, then we'll start to see an increased pressure on the conveyancing side of the process. So we're working to ensure they're prepared for that. And of course, we may see some cases needing to be paused due to being unable to proceed, such as house purchase. And no doubt there'll be an increased number of remortgages reaching completion. So like us, the remortgage conveyancing panel has been adopting alternative processes so that they can continue to be able to offer as near normal service as they can. And I'd also say with the newest part of the pipeline, it being smaller than normal, in other words, cases that have come to us since lockdown, that should provide a sufficient buffer really for those cases working their way through the process to ensure that we don't exceed capacity.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it's the whole issue hasn't really been capacity. It was just dealing with the change in circumstances. What working circumstances is. It was as much a logistical challenge as anything, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Getting
and I think
people
like
set up at
anything,
home. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say like anything, when you come across something like this, you might have times when you review one or two of your processes, but then suddenly when you've pretty much got to review all of the processes, that poses quite the challenge.
Yeah, yeah. It's not often we say this, but I think the IT departments, particularly in sort of lenders as such as yourself, and the breadth of teams they need to cover have really worked very hard across the industry.
Yeah, they sure have.
So finally, Joe, and this is the question I put to everyone, is
Yeah.
what advice would you give to brokers during the lockdown?
Oh, I think make sure your wine collection is topped up. But I think apart from that, I think in difficult times, you always remember the people that have gone that extra mile for you, or either through being in touch or just to see how you are and offering support. And I'd suggest really the relationship between brokers and their clients are no different.
Yeah.
So, stepping forward to face into the issues rather than stepping back, people will remember that. And I think ensuring that your clients know where to get advice and support, as well as, seeing the opportunities, plan for other eventualities that people previously might have dismissed and might now be more open to. And I think also, in times of stress like this, understand and recognise that everyone's doing their best
Yeah.
under what is difficult and unprecedented circumstances. And so whoever you come across, just remember to be kind. And to quote the now household name, he's now Colonel Tom, isn't he?
Yes.
Says tomorrow will be a good day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll finish with that.
Well, thanks very much for that, Joe. A great way to finish the interview. And I look forward to catching up with you again soon. Thank you
Great.
very much.